beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed its grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Whoa, sing with us. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Let's do it one more time. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now, right now.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning, Unity of Music City. It is so nice to see so many of you here. Let's stand together. We have lots to cover. Thank you.
We are blessed to have one another, a chosen family, together we stand. We are blessed to be sister and brother. We are blessed
Good morning. Time for the announcements. I remembered my glasses this morning, so I should do a little bit better. Of course, as you all know, at this moment in time, Unity of Music City is reopening. We are open. Now, reopening, we are open for business on a limited occupancy, but that's not true either anymore. You can just come. You don't have to sign up, sign in, whatever, just come. We love to have your faces here. We always practice social distancing, and this is a learning curve, so we're getting it. Sometimes we forget, but we're doing pretty good, I think, real good. The Namaste Cafe and the children's programs are not available right now, so please plan accordingly. But we do welcome you back. Town hall meeting today at 12 p.m. So for those of you that are not in the service this morning, some of you are following us on Facebook, on YouTube or our website. So if you please tune in at 12 if you're not already with us. For some important information, we need to seriously consider joining us and via Zoom and discussing the future of our spiritual community. We are very much need and welcome your input. It's real important that we have your input. We are a family, and so we need to be responding like a family when it comes to the church and our commitment to it. Let's see, join us for Lunch Bunch. Lunch Bunch every Wednesday. The book that we're reading right now is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And it's at 11:30, so it's not too late to join us. You say, well, I don't have the book and I haven't been reading it. It's okay. I'm telling you, you can come in at any point in time and get something from this discussion. So if you would like more information, you can contact Karen Burr. Text her, 931-581-6116 for more information. Saturday, November 21st, Land Lovers, 9 to 12. This is the final cleanup for the year. So please see Tom if you would like to be a part of that, or just come. Just show up, have some tools. You put a little elbow grease into the church grounds here, and I'm sure it will be appreciated. Also, I want to interject something here. Many of you are new enough that you don't know one of our founding members, co-ministers, Patricia Ryder, was a contributor to this church. Actually, she was in that founding group that brought together people to create this church. She made her transition Friday evening, and so we just wanted to honor her and say, thanks to all of her efforts that she gave to this church. We are still here, and that says a lot. And also to, just her family, those that are closest to her, we want to put out that how we are, our sorrow is there, our celebration of her life that she lived and the contribution that she made to this church. Okay, thanks.
I'm so glad that we are here. I'm so glad that we are here. I feel the Spirit ever near. Feel the Spirit ever near. We are friends and
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today's sacred reading, guidance. And the affirmation is, my indwelling spiritual presence guides my life. It's easy to trust the guidance of my inner wisdom when everything is going well in my life. However, what happens to my faith when storm clouds appear? Releasing my concerns, I open to the spiritual presence within. If I hold worries in my mind and try to solve them myself, I can't always see the divinely inspired answers that may be right in front of me. Instead, I choose to hold fast to my belief that divine guidance will carry me through uncertain times. Guidance can come in ways that surprise me. It can come when I least expect it, so I keep my mind open and receptive. The still small voice inside directs me to my perfect path that inspires me to follow. I know that all is well. And today's scripture is from Luke 1:79. Give light to those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet in the way of peace.
So let's take just a few minutes wherever we are and step out of this world. Divine inner guidance will guide me through uncertain times. And that is a place within us that we can go to in an instant. And for these few moments together, we step into that place. The place that is only divine. The place that is always there. The place that is always peace. The place that is always silent of the voices that would seem to batter us through our life's journey. And in that place, we can feel and sense and know and intuit the divine guidance that will set our feet on the path of joy. Let's be in that space together now for just a moment, in the silence. In the silence. And every time we leave the silence, we can know that we can carry it with us through our interactions with others, through all of the experience that we have in this world. That silence, that space is always a part of who we are. And that is why we can say, I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
I am so blessed.
I am so blessed.
I am so blessed.
I am so grateful.
I am so
For all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. And I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Harmony 5 or 6 or 10 or... Thank you guys so much for reminding us of how blessed we are, Ryan and the gang. It is so wonderful to see a few faces in here I haven't seen in a while. It's like we're at church again. Yeah. That is so awesome. For those of you who are still at home and doing what you need to do, that is fantastic. Know that we believe that we are functioning in a way that is safe here. And also, if we get too many folks showing up, we'll just kick Dan out. Now, we can't do that because he's running sound, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. You know, this being in the world but not of the world is a bit of a roller coaster ride, isn't it? I don't know about you, but I've been on a bit of a roller coaster ride this week and other weeks as well in my life. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I feel like I'm failing at it. Sometimes I feel like I'm about to lose my lunch on that roller coaster, right? I'm not doing the great job that I would love to be doing to keep the proper balance. And at times, I am so in the world, if you can't tell from the topic of the title of the talk, In and Not Of, we're talking about that verse today, to be in the world but not of the world. At times, I am so very much in the world that I feel a little bit like this. I'm like a big old ball of rubber bands. I am wound so tight, right? I am right there in the middle of the world and what's going on. And other times, I am so not of this world that I am blissed out. In fact, I can get so blissed out that I can't even answer a direct question, right? This guy's sitting in the middle of traffic. Now, there is no traffic. There could be a whole metaphysical talk about the fact that he's so blissed out that he made the traffic disappear. But nonetheless, the idea there is maybe being blissed out in the middle of the road isn't a great idea. Have y'all ever gone and gotten a massage or been so blissed out or meditated and you knew, I should not drive right now? Right? I do not need to be driving right now. You know, I think that there is a middle ground that we can go to. The Buddha called it the middle way. It is the foundational principle of Buddhism, is to find the middle way, a place that resides somewhere between the two extremes of a complete self-indulgence in a physical world, on one hand, and complete self-mortification and denial, on the other hand, that there is a middle way. There is a way to be in the world and not of the world simultaneously. The Buddha teaches that to stay on this middle way, you follow the Eightfold Path, right? And that's not really the centerpiece of the talk today, but I do want to at least make reference to it. The Eightfold Path, many of you know, includes right understanding, right thought. We talk about that a lot in Unity. Right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. I do not know if the Buddha defined right. Probably so. I'm not a very well-versed Buddhist, but I do appreciate him. I would love to stay on that path and stay in the place of right mind and right speech and right thought all of the time, and I try. And I believe that there is worthiness in the try. The try itself is worthwhile. But I remember that part of this equation, part of this balance, is being in the world. Staying in the world while I'm trying to be not of the world. And I look around at people I admire, people whose spiritual awareness I respect, people who have been teachers for me, and I see them working through all of this too, and that's really nice. I think it helps to see our spiritual leaders being human and wrestling with these questions of how to do this, because it keeps me from wallowing too long in the idea that I am failing. It saves me from the delusion of futility. Because I don't know about you, but I have had moments in my life where I throw up my hands and say, what is the point? Anybody ever been at the what is the point place in your life? I've been there. What's the point? You know what? Just be happy, drink beer, and don't worry about it. For a while in my 30s, that was my motto in life. Just be happy, drink beer, and don't worry about it, right? It saves us from that delusion of futility when we are able to see spiritual leaders who can own their humanness. In fact, I think that's a spiritual leader's place of true power. I want to tell you a little story about that happened when I was in high school. This is a brief jaunt down fundamentalist memory lane. I won't make you stay there too long. But when I was in high school, the summer between my junior and senior year, we lived in Denver, Colorado, and my family attended the largest Nazarene church in the world at that time. It was a mega church before the word mega church was invented, right? Big old church. And we were going to have, that summer, we were going to have a revival. Now, do y'all know what a revival is? All right? So Charlotte knows back there, Sherry knows what a revival is. And so what it meant, and Dan knows, what it meant in the Nazarene church was that you were going to have a visiting evangelist. There were ministers whose job it was to just travel around and do these revivals. I think they were probably running from the IRS, I'm not sure. But they would just travel around and do these revivals. And for a week, what that meant, usually they were a week long, and for a week you had church every night. Every night. And that summer, we were having a revival with a man, Sherry may know, maybe Dan knows, a man named Chuck Milhuff. You know Chuck Milhuff? Rest in peace, he has gone on to the other side. My family had a connection to Chuck Milhuff. My mother was the flower girl in Chuck and Jeannie Milhuff's wedding. So the Nazarene Church was a very small world back in those days. So Chuck Milhuff came, and he was doing a week's worth of church every night. And let me tell you what happened. On Friday night of that week, Chuck went off script. Chuck went off script. You can always tell when a speaker's getting ready to go off script, can't you? You can see when they stop. And you can see the wheels turning, and they're thinking about, am I going to do this? And he told us a story. He said, and he told us he was going off script. He said, I've got to set this aside. God won't let me not talk about this anymore. And he said, last week, when I was flying from Kansas City to Denver to come do this revival for you this week, I was at the airport in Kansas City, and they messed up the flight. And I wasn't on that flight, and they were going to have to bump me, and I was going to have to wait for 4 hours in the airport, and it was a big old mess. And he said, let me tell you what I did. I gave that young woman behind the counter what for. I came at her with all my guns blazing. I tore her up one side and down the other. And guess what? They found me a seat on that flight. And guess who rode right next to me? The Holy Spirit. And the whole way, I was being told, you were not Jesus to that young woman. And he said, all week long, I've been up here preaching, telling you how I think you should live. And all I can think about is that young woman at the United Airlines counter in Kansas City. He said, I've got to call in to the manager there. I'm trying to find out who she was. I need to apologize to her. I need to tell her. I need to set this straight. 40 years later, it still makes me cry. It's not even the story itself. It's the fact that a man stood up in front of 2,000 people and said, I have to show you this part of me. I have to own this in a public way. And let me tell you what happened. The Spirit dumped on that place that night. I mean, it just flooded through there. Honey, let me tell you, we don't believe in this in the Church of the Nazarene, but I was waiting for somebody to speak in tongues. I mean, it was like it was crazy up in there. And so by Sunday morning, it had already been decided that we were going to go one more week with this revival. That stuff was happening up in here, and we were not going to stop it. We were not going to be the ones to stop it. God was going to have to stop it because we were moving forward. And then we went another week, and then we went another week, and before it was all said and done, we had a 3-month revival, 12 weeks of church every night. 12 weeks. We moved right on into fall, and I didn't really like that because one night Chuck spoke about prom coming up and how the parents need to know that all the boys are renting hotel rooms because they want to have sex that night, and I got an 11 o'clock curfew on prom night. So I wasn't really pleased about that part of Chuck's talk. But I understood the big picture even then when I was 16, 17 years old. I understood that what had happened was that a person in a position of power and authority and guru-ness had owned his humanness. And that humanness caused a wave of divine spirit to flood through that place. Recently, in the last couple of years, I've watched as Marianne Williamson ran for president. Somebody whose divine awareness and understanding I truly admire. And I've watched her be in the world and wrestle with it and deal with it and own her stuff. I watched not too long ago, if you guys follow Deepak Chopra on social media at all, recently he made a few posts about wearing a mask and being safe and things like that. And let me tell you, all these really, really holy people that follow him jumped his shit. I mean, they gave him holy hell. Some of the comment threads, you might have seen them, some of the comment threads, it just makes you, it's like, what are we doing to each other? Right? In our humanness. I don't know if any of you follow Glennon Doyle. I love Glennon Doyle. She wrote the New York Times bestseller Untamed. And Glennon Doyle, this is kind of her brand. Her brand is to publicly express the highs and the lows and the joys and the frustrations and the humanness of her experience of moving through that human world. And I admire those people. And those people step up, right? Those people step up to get engaged. They get involved in social justice. I would contend that in many cases, the greater our spiritual awareness, the greater the pull to social justice, to being in the world, actively engaged in the world. Our sister church knows this. The Unitarians, right? The Unitarians are fantastic people. I don't know if you know about the Unitarians. They're the Unitarian Universalists, right? Two churches that in the 60s or 70s or something decided, hey, you know what? We teach the same thing. Do y'all just want to do this together? Right? So they became the Unitarian Universalist, and they both, just like Unity, have a lot of influence from Ralph Waldo Emerson. In fact, Emerson was a Unitarian minister. And I've often said that the Unitarians are the head of Emerson, and Unity is the heart of Emerson. Right? But if there's one thing you should know about the Unitarian Universalist is they do social justice. It is practically the church of social justice. And I wanted to share with you really briefly their 7 principles. You may not be able to read that. It's kind of small, but I will read them to you. So they have 7 principles that guide them in the way that Unity has our 5 Unity principles. And their first principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Sounds a whole lot to me like that second Unity principle. Our essence is of God, and therefore we are inherently good. Their second principle is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. That's all about being in the world, right? The third principle is acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. But notice what comes first: acceptance of one another, which is one of the ways in which I feel we share the most. It's our common thread right there, is the way that we both just open our doors and accept people for who they are. The fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. In other words, we're not going to tell you how to do this. Right? There have been official statements of the Unitarian Universalist Church that come right out and say, we honor all paths: Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, pagan, Wiccan, atheist. We don't care. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The fifth principle is the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The sixth principle is the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. So now that not only are we in the world, in our community, and in our nation, we are in the whole world. And our message is one for the whole world. And the seventh principle is respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. That seventh principle could have been the title of probably a third of Denise Jurgen's talks that I heard, right? Many of you have heard the quote by Dr. Martin Luther King, the quote that, there it is, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice, right? The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Dr. King was actually quoting a Unitarian minister, Theodore Parker. Most of the people I admire are those who took a social justice stand. They're my personal heroes. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Harriet Tubman, Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, Jesus of Nazareth, right? You remember all of his social justice work, right? If you have a red letter edition of the Bible, just go look at all the red letters. It's all social justice. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the merciful. He came here as a servant, doing the good works that served the public good, right? He came to do the work of his Father. He embraced the sinners and the prostitutes and worst of all, of course, those tax collectors. And he embraced the sick and the poor and the outcast and the needy. And that was the work, that physical work that he was doing in the world. But that was Jesus. And Gandhi and MLK and Mother Teresa and all. I'm just me. I'm just me, and following in their footsteps is hard. I'm just me on this roller coaster. And sometimes it gets a little confusing to know which path to follow, how to be in this world. I admire Jesus, I like him, okay, I'll just follow him. And then, a bunch of his followers do things like, the Inquisition, right? Death, war, enslavement, torture, burning at the stakes, bigotry, hypocrisy. Yeah, I know it's not his fault, but it's still his folks in the world sometimes make it a little confusing for us. How am I supposed to work my way through this in the world but not of the world stuff? And how do I ever hope to find a balance that works? Eckhart Tolle wrote about the pain body. If you've read his A New Earth or The Power of Now, he talks about the pain body, and that is this ego self that we subconsciously identify with, that carries all of our hurts and our struggles and our challenges and our pains and our confusion and our not understanding and all of that. I don't know if you've ever had a moment in your life where you knew that you were totally wrapped up in that pain body. But I have. I've been there. There's a reason he calls it the pain body. We live so much of our lives attached to that construct, and we call it reality. But guess what? Good news. I have found 2 places where you can escape it. 2 places to escape the pain body. I'm just going to stay right here and let you write me checks right now. No, I'm kidding. The first place is in the world. I can go out into the world and escape my pain body. I can look for ways to help others. I can look for ways to be of service. I can find out who I can stand up for. I can be a part of the solution. And guess what? The pain body is lazy and it doesn't want none of that. Because it's not about him. My pain body's a him. I don't know, I'm just kidding. It's not about your pain body at that moment. So your pain body stays on the front porch and sips iced tea while you go out and save the world, right? And how many times you've ever experienced that where you become of service to others and your pain just starts to go away. And I feel good again, and I feel peace, and I feel joy, and I feel love. So that is one place. That is where the pain body steps aside and waits for you to come home. But it steps aside. The other place is not of the world. Those are the 2 places. Jesus was giving us the answer to how to stay out of our pain body. Be in the world, not of the world. Simultaneously, be both of those things. That is the place, the not of the world place, is the place so deep within that is divine. It is a part of the energetic grid of souls. It's part of the sacred magical circle. It's part of the oneness that is this universe, and it is there with us all the time, ready for us to step into it. It is the recognition that we are part of and not part of, but wholly enveloped in God energy, wholly imbued with spiritual essence, wholly vibrating at 432 hertz, right? No longer defined by your physical interaction with other people, but knowing them also as holy, magical, divine essence. There, the pain body evaporates. It disappears. It changes from this heavy, horrible cloak that we had to carry around to a wisp of smoke that we couldn't catch if we tried. It shows itself as the illusion that it is. So why don't we live there? Right? Why don't we just live there? I've thought that many, many times. I have contemplated, I have been tempted by the idea that I could just abandon the hole in the world part. I could just step out of it completely and just stay in the bliss of the not of this world. There's a spiritual teacher I follow named Sadhguru. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy or not. He's a pretty interesting guy. I like to follow him on social media. He has a place in India, an ashram in India, and then he wanted to put a place in North America, and so his people came over here and started looking for land and started letting the spirit guide them to where they were going to put a place in North America, and so they found land in McMinnville, Tennessee, which I think is one of the chakras of the earth. I'm not sure. But McMinnville, Tennessee, and if you haven't been there, I strongly recommend that you take a trip down there sometime. I don't know what they're doing with the pandemic, so it might not be available now. Is it closed? It's closed right now. But when it's open regularly, once a month they have what they call a free yoga day on Saturday, and you can just show up and participate. And yoga, of course, in the Hindu tradition, does not mean just positions. That's one small part of it. It's also so much more of the spiritual guidance and the meditation and the teaching that we do. And so this is the largest meditation center in the Western Hemisphere. I've been in that building right there. There's no picture. It's kind of like, that's like the Grand Canyon of buildings. A picture cannot do it justice. When you step in that building, there's nothing in there. There are no rooms. It's just one big open space. And it's just huge, right? And then they have this beautiful building here that's got this big, huge, like 25 or 30-foot statue of the Adi Yoga in there. And it is a sacred place. You can feel it when you walk in. It is a sacred place. So when I was there, I've been there 2 or 3 times. I went there once with Denise Jurgen, and I'm not sure if this was the time I went with Denise or not, but there was this one time that stood out to me. We went to this session, and it was kind of a meditation, kind of restorative yoga, kind of like, centering kind of session. And the young man who was leading it was probably about, 25, 30, 35. He was ageless. He could have been 412, as far as I know, but probably around 28, 29. And this guy was dressed in kind of those, unbleached, kind of cotton, very loose, flowing, tunic-y kind of shirt, flowing pajama panty things. And he sat up there, and his whole demeanor was like completely blissed out, right? He was so peaceful. He was also kind of far away, right? And that's okay. He was kind of far away. He looked detached, and he was. He was really detached. No attachments. He seemed to be very much at peace. He also kind of seemed like he could just kind of float away at any given moment. I would not have been surprised if that had happened. And as I watched him, my writer brain kicked in. And writers have to ask questions about everything they see. It's like curiosity killed the cat. Oh no, it had its way with the writer first. So as I sat there watching him, I started to ask questions like, how did he get here? Right? How did he get here? Like, what did he leave behind? Did he ever go home for Christmas or Thanksgiving or Rosh Hashanah or Holy or anything that he might celebrate? Does he ever put on blue jeans? That was what I thought. Does that guy ever put on blue jeans? Does he have a smartphone? Does he watch television? And my other question was, can he sustain this? I'm impressed if he can. It wasn't a question of questioning whether he could. I just really wanted to know, could he sustain this? Will he be here 10 years from now? And of course, none of those questions are any of my business. I was just curious. Because when I've tried to stay in bliss like that, I've been there. I've been in that place, and I'm in the Zen, and I'm good for a while, and it's so beautiful, and I want to stay here forever. And then, somewhere, out of the corner of my eye, something racist happens. Or something unjust happens, or bigotry happens, or someone abuses a dog, right? Or a child. And I'm pulled out. I am not unattached. I haven't reached the level where I can be unattached from that. I remember watching Muji. Most of you know he's another one of my spiritual guides. Just look at that guy. Look how spiritual he is. He's wearing all the right clothes. He's got the right beads. He's got the dreadlocks. He's got the beatific smile. And he's probably by the Sea of Galilee right there. I don't know. He's by some sort of water. And I remember I watch a lot of Muji videos, and one of the one that always stuck out to me was one where he talks about, somebody asked him a question. He said, the other night, I was just relaxing, and I was on the computer, and I was watching funny videos on YouTube. And I remember thinking, I am so glad to hear you say that. I am so glad that I don't have to stop being spiritual, because I really need to laugh right now, and I need to watch some funny videos on YouTube. And it had such an impact on me because he is a teacher I admire, and he was human, and he showed that. On the roller coaster that was this week, I had a couple of moments when I was down in the roller coaster, down in the valley. And I went to my friend Google. I almost called this talk The Gospel According to Google, but I went to my friend Google, and I found, I teach my students that the way to, Google is your friend. You just have to ask it exactly what you want. Ask it for exactly what you want. And so I typed in, how to stay spiritually sane when the world is crazy. And I got a website back that said, 7 spiritual tips to maintain your sanity when the news is challenging. 7 spiritual tips to maintain your sanity when the news is challenging. It was posted by someone named Rabbi Jill Zimmerman. I don't know her. I tried to look her up a little bit. Rabbi Jill Zimmerman, she founded the Jewish Mindfulness Network. Her website is called Cultivating a Path with Heart. And so I have co-opted her 7 steps here, and I'm going to use them a little bit to help us move through the roller coaster, how to maintain that balance of in the world but not of the world. So the first tip she has is don't catastrophize. And I needed that. If I went for no other reason to that website this week, it was for those 2 words. Don't catastrophize. Don't look at the news and think, oh my God, we're going to hell in a handbasket. The world is on fire. Deal with now. What is true now? And it makes me think of, regardless of whether you are one of the 51% who is celebrating this week or one of the 47, 48% who is not. It brought to mind Tuesday night and Wednesday night and Thursday when I was following now President-elect Biden on social media, and he kept sending this message. Stay calm. Be patient. It's fine, right? Let the process happen. Let democracy happen. Calm down. And it was like he was not allowing us to catastrophize, even in moments when I wanted to catastrophize. It is challenging when you hear the rumblings of white supremacy. And it's challenging when you see decks being stacked that would seem to want to steal your rights away. It is so, and don't catastrophize does not mean don't be prepared. Be prepared for what might happen, but don't catastrophize the now. Now, it's not happening right now. You're okay right now. Number 2, gather your people. Gather your people and don't engage in fights, right? Find your tribe. Be around the people that you can be yourself. You know, it's kind of like for the last week, it's kind of okay that people who are celebrating are gathering together with the people who are celebrating, and people who are not celebrating can gather together with the people that they can understand what they're feeling and what they're going through, right? Gather your people. Denise used to talk about the circle of 5. Reach out to those folks who you can take a truly deep breath with and be yourself. Number 3, do not abandon your core values for any reason. Figure out what they are first. I have that conversation with students all the time because I have the privilege of working with young people who are trying to figure out what their core values are. Those core values are the things that you believe regardless of what label they carry, right? If tomorrow the Baptist Church celebrated oneness and all paths, we honor all paths, and we're going to have a gay minister here, and the Unity Church became a little bit intolerant, I'd be a Baptist tomorrow. I don't care what the label is. My core value doesn't change. Right? One of my core values has always been anti-racism. I don't know who planted that seed in me as a child, but it got watered and it got fed, and I know that that is my unmovable oak tree. Number 4, fill your cup. Fill your cup. Seek out those people whose teachings have healed and helped you. I know I can turn on some Diva Pramal and I'm healed. I know I can meditate, I can listen to Muji, I can Google, I can go to the gospel according to Google, and I can be healed. Number 5, remember those inspirational leaders who have survived difficult times. I think of John Lewis in Selma getting beaten in the head. I think of Jesus being tempted in the desert, going through difficult times. I think of Viktor Frankl. This man survived the Nazi concentration camps. He was a neurologist and a psychiatrist. He came up with something called logotherapy that is based on finding meaning in life. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning that in the 1950s and 60s was a huge bestseller. And he wrote this. By the way, before you even start reading that, his mother, his father, his wife, his sister all died in the Nazi concentration camps. He lost everything. And he came out and did this work on meaning, and he said, ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather must recognize that it is he who is asked. In a word, each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life, he can only respond by being responsible. Keep showing up and doing it. Number 6, take time for beauty. So I went to the Gospel According to Google, and I typed in beautiful pictures. That's it. I just typed in some beautiful pictures. And look what I got. Isn't that nice? And I got, oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful right there. And I like elephants, so I chose that one. And I can feel how that automatically made me feel better. John Keats wrote, beauty is truth. Truth, beauty, that's all you know on earth and all you need to know. And number 7, find humor. That will heal you in a moment, right? Again, Google came through for me, right? Mike soon regretted the day he swallowed a magnet. Nothing better than cat humor, unless it's dog humor, right? When the cat gets in trouble for something you did. And if cat or dog humor doesn't do it for you, there's always raccoon humor, right? I need to live healthier, and that is me at 2 a.m. Have y'all discovered TikTok? If you haven't discovered TikTok, it's the funniest of the social medias, and people are really, really talented, and you need to discover TikTok. You have not lived until you have seen Nikki Conley sitting up in a chair, earbuds in her ears, phone in hand, throw her head back, and laugh. Oh my God, you have not lived until you've seen Nikki Conley do that. I think it rivals Denise Jorgen's laugh. Or have your go-to joke friend. You know, in summary, there's two things that I've always been able to count on. The power of getting outside yourself and helping others. It makes me think of the story of the Good Samaritan, right? Who is my neighbor? The one who stopped and helped. The one who took care of the person there. The Good Samaritan. And at the end of that story, Jesus said to the religious scholar who was questioning him, trying to trip him up, he said, go and do the same. Go and live out in the world and help those around you. And the second thing, of course, is the power of going deep within, of being able to be in this world while being not of the world. That is the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot. It is the place of power and grace and peace and meaning and responsibility and compassion and alignment and core values and beauty and faith and hope and love. That is the place where it lives, and it is where we can all live in love and show up as love for each other. Namaste.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was amazing. I'm fired up again. I don't know about you guys, but that's, again, spot on, and I think what we all needed to hear, especially after the week that we have had. And if you guys would say with me now the offering affirmation. I'm open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease and grace so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me. Because, of course, again, as we haven't said in a while, we all know that we take those tithes and offerings and they come back to us heaped up, pressed down, shaken together, and flowing over. For that is the law, and so it is. Shall we sing?
Join us in the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.